It's another edition of the Hurry Up Offense here on Football.com. My name is Aaron Morse, joined, as always, by Joe Jenkins and Joe Coughlin, talking about the big storylines in college football. And thank goodness we're talking about college football because the NFL is a mess right now. Love to talk college football. First things first, Alabama. You know, after spring ball, everyone was talking about the FSU transfer, Coker, being the most likely man to get the start at quarterback, but it's been Blake Sims so far, and it's worked out well. Joe Jenkins, let's start with you. Do you think it'll be Sims the rest of the year, and what have your impressions been about him so far? Hurry up.
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, he hasn't looked great, but he's looked very solid. He's accurate. He has a little bit of mobility, and overall he just looks a little bit more comfortable in the offense than Coker does. He's not messing up play calls the way that Coker does. And let's be real here. Alabama won a national championship with a quarterback named Greg McElroy, so the guy doesn't exactly have to be amazing in order to hang on to this job. But Alabama hasn't played anybody yet either, so we'll see in the coming weeks once they get into the real dirt of the SEC schedule if this kid can hold up.
Yeah, they got Florida coming up this week. We might talk a little bit more about that later. But, Joe Coughlin, your thoughts on Blake Sims so far?
Yeah, similar sentiments as to Joe Jenkins. He's just looked solid and a more professional, if you will, in a college setting. And he's really won over that team, so they say, in the locker room and all that good stuff. And Alabama doesn't need a Johnny Manziel back there. They've got a lot of other talent around them. But, some things maybe down the line could hurt him. He's not a huge playmaker. His touchdown passes have been all 1-4, and then 2 behind the line of scrimmage that his receivers took the distance. So he hasn't made huge plays. He's made solid, smart plays. So he might need to down the stretch when they get into that bear of that schedule. So I think he's going to hold on for the year, but it could be in question depending on how he plays against Florida, A&M, and those teams.
And his job is, I don't want to say easy, but easier because of those amazing running backs Alabama features in that backfield. That's for sure. All right, second down, gentlemen. Big upsets this past weekend. BC beat USC. East Carolina beat Virginia Tech. Which one was more surprising? Joe Coughlin, hurry up.
How quick were all the pundits to the message board saying how this was the year of the Pac-12, finally better than the SEC? It's not. I don't know why everybody went to say that. USC giving up 400 yards rushing and only rushing for 20. They don't belong in any conversation involving a top 10 program. I'm sorry. That was embarrassing for the Pac-12, and I just don't think that. I think that's clearly the biggest upset of the week and kind of bad just for the whole conference.
And Joe Jenkins, your thoughts? Which was the biggest upset this past weekend? Hurry up.
Well, I'm going to say ECU because that was my bold prediction. So because I think that's a big upset. I think it really was too because ECU is an American team. They're not even a Power 5 conference team. I know Boston College isn't exactly a cornerstone of the ACC or anything like that, but they are an ACC program, and they should be able to compete against teams like USC and stuff like that. So maybe they're just maybe they're finally coming around a little bit. But yeah, ECU beating Virginia Tech, definitely a bigger upset.
Joe, a lot of credit there. Both of you last week nailed your bold predictions. We'll get to that a little bit later here. Third down, Rutgers made their Big Ten debut recently against the Penn State Nittany Lions. A wild atmosphere there at Rutgers. Some inappropriate shirts and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. It was actually, I was entertained. Even though it was kind of a low-scoring game, I found the game oddly entertaining. Nova threw 5 picks, but I still thought Rutgers looked kind of good. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Joe Jenkins, hurry up.
Yeah, we talk about how they're going to assimilate into the Big Ten, and if it's the 2014 Big Ten, they fit right in because they're inept. So they kind of fit the part for this year. The funny thing is, this Gary Nova kid, this is not the first time he's had a blow-up day like this. He had 5 interceptions in a game last year. He had 5 interceptions in a game in 2012. He had 2 games in each of those years with 4 interceptions. This guy is just, he's got a history for blowing up from game to game. So as shocking as the 5 interceptions was, it's the 3rd time he's done it in his career with Rutgers. So, but as far as a Big Ten team, yeah, they're fitting in just fine right now.
Joe Coughlin, your thoughts on Rutgers' Big Ten debut there against the Nittany Lions?
Yeah, I was sitting there with Aaron a little bit, and I think maybe it's because we like watching Big Ten football, and we have for 30 years now. But I kind of like the football game too. But yeah, Nova, he can sling the ball, but he's also a gunslinger, and that leads to a lot of mistakes, and it's what happened over and over, like Jenkins said. But I think that they played a tough game, and we'll see as it goes down the stretch if they can fit in the rest of the year. But it's looking like they'll be fine, and hey, it's the Big Ten, whatever we can get.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Rutgers and Maryland might be right there in the pack this season the way things are going. All right, fourth down. It's always bold to go for on fourth down. So this is our bold prediction segment on the Hurry Up Offense. Both of you nailed your bold predictions last week. Jenkins already pointed that out for himself, and Coughlin nailed his as well. And so now let's get your bold predictions for the upcoming week. Some interesting matchups around the country. Last week we had a couple of upsets, and you guys both nailed them. But Joe Coughlin, your bold prediction for the upcoming week in college football, sir.
All right, just because I've got 2 straight wins, so you guys got to believe me, I'm some sort of maniacal genius. I think Florida can knock off Alabama this week. I think Blake Sims, we talked about him earlier. I think he might have to make some plays, and this Florida defense could step up and force him into some turnovers and basically gift wrap the game.
Wow. Watch your inbox. Alabama fans are not going to be happy about that prediction, and we know they scour everything. They have Google alerts for Alabama, I think, for all of them. But Joe Jenkins, your thoughts, your bold prediction for this upcoming week.
Yeah, I'm going with the early game. Going Thursday. Kansas State is the best team that Auburn's played so far this year. I think there's going to be a lot of offense. I think it's going to be high scoring, but Manhattan is not the easiest place to go and win a game at. So I think Kansas State wins a high scoring, close one against Auburn.
You know, Kansas State, always a tough opponent for teams. I mean, they're going to be well coached. We know that with Snyder there, in Manhattan, Kansas. So should be a good one there. Joe Coughlin, you had the bolder prediction, but we'll see what will happen. They're both bold, but I think Coughlin would really go out on a limb there. I mean, Florida almost lost to Kentucky. But we'll see. And we'll catch you next time for Football.com. I'm Aaron Morse.